You get home. Finally, the day is behind you, and tonight you're going to do something for yourself. Learn the thing. Start the side project. Open the budget you've been avoiding for 3 weeks. Just 20 minutes. That's all it takes. You sit down, and somewhere in the next 40 minutes, without ever deciding to, your hand finds your phone. When you look up, the 20 minutes is gone. So is the hour. The screen glows. Your thumb aches a little, and the thing you were going to build sits exactly where it was last night. Untouched. Again, here's what that actually costs. If it happens most weeknights, and be honest, it does, that's not one lost evening. That's 200 of them a year. 200 nights you meant to move your life forward and didn't. Stack that time end to end, and it's enough to learn a trade. Start a business. Change the entire shape of your money. And you know what you tell yourself the next morning? You tell yourself you're lazy. You're not. I want to show you where that hour actually goes. Because it isn't vanishing into thin air, and it isn't a flaw in your character. It's something quieter than that, and stranger, and once you see it, you won't be able to stop seeing it. So here's the question. Underneath everything, if you're not lazy, and you're not, then where does the time to get ahead disappear to every single day? Start with the morning. The moment you open your eyes, your day is already full. Not your day the way you design it. Your day the way everyone else has already claimed it. Work wants its hours. Your kids want theirs. The inbox is stacked before you've had coffee. There are deadlines with your name on them and messages already waiting, sent by people who were awake before you. Notice what's missing from that list. You. There is no block in there reserved for the version of your life you're actually trying to build. So it has to come from the leftovers. And the leftovers are almost nothing. A scrap here, 10 minutes there. Whatever's left over, after everyone else has been paid in your time first. Now add the second thing, the one nobody warns you about. Willpower isn't a switch you flip. It's a tank. And all day long, it drains. First thing in the morning, fresh, you can make yourself do hard things. Read the difficult page. Say no to the thing you don't want to do. But every choice you make across a day, what to answer, what to cook, which small fire to put out, pulls a little more out of that tank. By 9 at night, when you finally sit down to invest in yourself, you're running on fumes. And this isn't just a feeling you can push through. Researchers once combed through millions of test scores from school children across Denmark, looking at one simple thing. What time of day the child sat the exam. Same kids, same ability. The only difference was the clock. And the finding was quietly brutal. The later in the day the test came, the worse those same children scored. A short break, 20 minutes or so, clawed some of it back. But the direction never changed. The later it got, the less they had to give. Now ask yourself, when you sit down to build your future, not first thing, last thing, sit with how cruel that timing is. You schedule the most important, most difficult work of your life, the work that would actually change things, for the exact moment you have the least strength left to do it. It was never that you're weak. You're trying to lift the heaviest thing at the end of the same day you carried everything else. Then there's the third piece. Even the scraps of time you do have don't stay empty anymore. Every gap in your day now has something waiting to fill it. The line at the store, the kettle coming up to a boil, the 10 minutes before you fall asleep. There used to be small silences inside. A life, little moments, where your mind could drift toward what you actually wanted. Those silences are mostly gone now. Something is always there to catch them. A feed, a red dot, a headline built to pull you in and not let go. So it isn't that you waste your free time. It's that your free time gets taken, quietly, a minute at a time, by things designed by very smart, very well-paid people to make sure no gap in your attention ever goes unfilled. And it runs deeper than the lost minutes. Researchers at the University of Texas tried something simple. They had people leave their phones in another room, or in a pocket, or just face down on the desk beside them, then tested how sharply their minds worked. The phones were off. Nobody was allowed to touch them. And still, the closer the phone sat, the worse people performed. Just knowing it was there, waiting, quietly drained a piece of their attention. So even in the small windows you do manage to claim back, part of you is still standing guard over a dark little rectangle, spending energy you don't know you're spending. Which brings me to the last piece, and honestly the worst one. Time that's been broken into fragments is nearly useless for building anything. Building something real, a skill, a business, a plan for your money, needs a stretch of unbroken time. 20 minutes, 30, an hour, where you can actually think one thought all the way through. But modern life doesn't hand you stretches. It hands you shrapnel. 5 minutes before the meeting. 3 minutes waiting on the kid. 90 seconds in line. Add it all up, and on paper it might look like a whole hour. But you can't build anything out of 90-second pieces. You can barely begin. So here's the turn. And this is the whole thing. So stay with me for a second. The problem was never your discipline. It was never your income. It was never, for one single day of your life, that you are lazy. The problem is this. There is one block of time in your day capable of changing everything. The quiet one, the unclaimed one, the one where you're fresh and whole and nobody else has gotten to you yet. And every day, that block gets spent on everyone and everything else before you ever get the chance to spend it on yourself. That's it. That's the secret hiding inside every video that ever promised you a 5 a.m. routine. The magic was never the number on the clock. The magic is a piece of the day the world hasn't taken yet. For some people, that's 5 in the morning. For you, it might be the 30 minutes before your kids wake up, the quiet before your shift starts, the single moment before your hand reaches for the phone. Getting ahead doesn't ask you to find more discipline. It asks you to claim one block of time before the rest of the world spends it for you. So picture that person on the couch again. End of the day, sunk into the cushions, phone glowing up onto their face, the thing they meant to do still undone. You know now that person isn't lazy. That person is exhausted and being honest about it, trying to build a future out of the last worn-down minutes of a day that already took everything else. Of course it didn't work. It was never going to work, and something loosens when you finally understand that. The guilt you've been carrying, the quiet certainty that other people have, some engine inside them that you're missing, you can set it down. There's no missing engine. There never was. You've been fighting the wrong fight at the wrong time of day against a world built to win it. Once you stop blaming yourself, you can actually start looking at the clock differently. And here is where all of this touches your money. Because the same trap that eats your evenings quietly eats your savings too. If your plan is to save whatever happens to be left at the end of the month, using whatever willpower happens to be left at the end of the day, you already know how that story ends. Same as the side project, nothing left over. Every single time. So stop making your money depend on willpower you won't have. Take one alert block of time, one morning when the tank is actually full, and set it up once. Log in, and tell the account to move a piece of every paycheck straight into savings or investing automatically on payday before it ever reaches your hands. You make the decision a single time while you're clear-headed and strong. Then it runs on its own. On the exhausted nights, on the busy weeks, on the days you forget it exists. The money moves whether you have the strength that day or not. That's the quiet advantage, not more grit. One good decision, made once, that keeps on working long after you've run out of the strength to make it again. And no, none of this turns you rich overnight. It won't. And anyone who tells you a morning routine becomes a fortune is selling you something. What it does is smaller than that and far more real. It hands you back one piece of your own day and one decision your future self never has to fight for again. So the only question left is a simple one. Which hour of your day is the one the world hasn't taken yet? And what would you finally build if you actually kept it?